Good day, everyone. I would like to welcome you all to Foundation of Working with Families at Risk. Today, I'm going to discuss about substance misuse. Substance misuse is the use of prescribed drugs in an improper way. It has got a negative impact on health. Lives are destroyed, youth affected, major changes occur in people's lives and families at large. There are risk factors due to substance misuse. The first one is it has got a negative impact on health. In terms of hygiene, there is neglect as well and poverty, which results in people ending up suffering because there will be lack of money, because parents will be using the money to buy drugs and substances. Therefore, it results in the family suffering. Children with parents with substance abuse, they'll have anxiety, headaches, bedwetting, and stomach aches. When they are parents with substance abuse, parents are scared to seek medical attention because they'll be fearing of being arrested and investigated and also noticed, which results in children having multiple health problems. Another risk factor is newborn children suffer maltreatment due to the abolition symptoms by their mothers. Young people end up with health problems as well. Children associated with substance misuse, they'll end up with depression, asthma, epilepsy, due not to coping up with the life experience at that period. Children will also feel isolated and rejected by their parents. So it affects children's health, the substance abuse. Another risk factor is safety. Parents with babies end up dropping their kids when they've used the substances. So there will be no safety to children and kids whatsoever because the parents won't be knowing what they will be doing when they are high on drugs. Parents can put needles anywhere and lighters where children can reach them. So it results in harm to the children as well. Children are also at high risk of fatal accidents, depending on where the drugs are kept by the parents who use substances. There is also a poorer outcome resulted from low warmth. Young children are at risk of abuse from family friends taking advantage of the parents that they do not have time to monitor their children due to concentrating on drugs only. So young children can just do anything, watching movies, like no under 18, they'll be watching them. Movies which are not as well required for them to watch. In terms of family relationships, there's a high risk on the family. There will be isolation. Lack of communication is experienced by family members. Children are also at high risk when parents separate, because if another parent is taking drugs and the other one is not, which means there will be divorce in the family or separation. So children will be at high risk. When parents are in denial, that they want to hide that what's going on in the family, and when the children end up seeing what's going on, they'll be depressed. Like, why were you trying to hide this from us? Because children knows, they'll understand what's going on in the family. Another risk factor is when families split, it can cause anger and blame in the children. And also when parents have to take turns, so that shift of parental roles, it makes it harder for children to adjust. Young children leave home early due to difficult situations faced by them. By that situation, in terms of family conflicts, there is high risk of violence associated with substance misuse. If children are exposed to parents with substance abuse, they end up at risk of double dose and possibility of harm to themselves. If there's much conflict in the family, that's when the children starts to do worst behavior that you can hardly control the children due to substance abuse, because there will be violence between the parents, so children will get wild. So the bad effects on children will result in family arguments. When children are separated from planned or emergency hospitalization for their parents, they become resistant, not wanting to listen to anyone. So it's actually hard in terms of the family. There's also another risk factor of emotional and behavioral development. There's higher risk of behavioral problems in young children when it comes to family using substances. You can never control them. They will have behaviors which is a result from parents' substance abuse. Children will feel that there's no more love from their parents because they will be concentrating on substances. There will be no love at all from the families, because they won't have time for the children. Due to the mood changes from parents, children will end up being frightened even to tell their parents if they've got any problems they'll be frightened because they end up with moods, drug addicts people, they end up with moods, and parents withdraw from their children as well. There's an impact on the emotional connection between children and their father if the mother is depressed. There's a higher risk of physical and emotional neglect, which can result in death or serious injury. So due to drug use, there will be noises. People end up killing, like father killing the wife or killing the kids when they are high on drugs. So it's a high risk. Anxiety can be caused by dismissive parents, which leads to people not trusting their parents. In terms of education, parents do not have time to monitor their children, what time they go to school, so children are late at times at school for school. Even their participation in class decreases. because there will be many things they will be thinking. In terms of learning, the kids, if they are still young, it affects them. The substance abuse for parents can affect the children's ability to perform better at school due to anxiety. Aldrich and Becker stipulated that children affected by their parents' substance misuse are always on their phone in fear of how their parents are going at home. Will they find them alive when they get home? Did they hurt themselves? It really affects the children very much. Children with mental health parents, they'll end up leaving school early just because they don't want to stay home with their parents, start their own lives because they are forced to leave home due to the circumstances they face. In terms of income, the family resources are diminished due to the diverting of the money in buying drugs, and it leads to poverty, which means suffering of everyone in the family. Like they won't be getting what they used to get, life has changed, so it's very difficult situation in terms of children and the partner as well if the partner is not into drugs. The basic care needs are affected because there will be no income coming in. There might be Centrelink, but then they'll use it to buy drugs, the family. Their household chores, they are not even performed correctly. Children can get sick because there will be no cleaning detergents in the house. So it really affects the family in that way. Another risk factor is some students who lack bathing, which means it affects their brain and nervous systems. But bathing can make people balance their hormones and benefit muscles, joints, and bones. So if they are not bathing children or even out there, people won't like to play with them. They'll feel isolated even at school. Poor nutrition and getting ready for school will affect children concentration because no food, running late, when they're at school they'll be hungry, so it means no concentration. Parents with substance misuse end up incurring bad debts since they are unemployed. Some stay in rented accommodation, of which they will end up being evicted due to non-rental payments, and they might be evicted. So life will be, change lifestyle of people. According to WHO in 2012 document, it stipulated that due to poor housing, parents will end up with depression. Thank you. That's all for today.